How's it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to the Bear Down podcast, where we talk about everything Bears every day of the week. I'm a little bit rusty. This is the first time I've done this in a while. My name is Zach Rimbos. Today, I'm joined with my co-host Parth here today. Today, we're going to be talking about training camp. I was there in attendance for the first practice with fans since 2019. So it's definitely been a very long time. Fans are very eager to get back into training camp, and this time around it was at Hallis Hall, not in Bourbonnais. So it was a little bit of a switch up. We've got Parth as well as Chris going to tomorrow's training camp. So we're probably going to do another one of these tomorrow. But today we're just going to be talking about what we saw, or I guess I saw from training camp today. We're going to be talking a little bit about our concerns, what we expect from people that we saw, and just go into that in a little bit of detail on the defensive side of the ball, offensive side of the ball. But first off, let's start out. Parth, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. I haven't recorded in a while either. I think Chris and Jaylen have been, steering the boat for a little. I was out on vacation with the family last week, and then the week before, I was in San Francisco with some of my friends from college. So I've been out of town, haven't been able to record, but I'm excited to record today. And then tomorrow, I'm going to training camp. So we're back on that Bears full swing. Training camp is finally here, like Zach said. We've been waiting almost a long time for this. A lot of us Justin Fields hopefuls are excited to see Fields, out in the field again. That's gonna be fun. Tomorrow, I'll be there with Chris. We're gonna be tweeting out a lot today. Zach did that, so make sure you guys follow us on our socials as well, because we'll be out there giving you guys live coverage, basically.
Yeah, it's been great. We've had kind of the hype revitalized with the Bears here. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like, obviously since we've got Fields and Chase did a really great job in this draft. And, I haven't been here in a while. I've been really busy with work. We're college students, so we've been kind of all over the place. But it's been really great so far just to get back to some Bears football and talk about it because I miss it just as much as I'm sure everybody else tuning in here.
Exactly. Yeah, no, everyone enjoys the Bears in Chicago, basically. So, let's get right into it.
Yeah, so let's go straight into the defense. So what I saw from some of the defensive players today, Jaylen Johnson went in terms of the 11 on 11s and 7 on 7s, was getting a majority of the target share. Obviously he's going to be that number one guy, or is expected to going into week one. Obviously with the departure of Kyle Fuller, excuse me. And Desmond Trufant was out there today. Looked pretty decent, was tracking the ball pretty well. Jaylen kind of got broken up here by Mooney, which is something that we'll talk about on the offensive side of the ball as well. And luckily, he was okay. He went down earlier today, Jaylen Johnson, that was in practice. I was very concerned about that when I saw it. He was holding his knee, but he's definitely okay now. He went right back out and started playing after he got stretched out and looked at by the trainers. Another thing from the defense that I saw was the safeties were tracking the ball pretty well, and obviously they're not full contact. They're not diving across the field and going across the field trying to get balls. So from what I saw from them today, they look pretty good. But one of the biggest things on the defense that is very notable, something I was very impressed by today, and I don't know if it's something to be impressed by too much, is that Robert Quinn and Mac were getting into the backfield very fast. Quinn looked very good. Hopefully he's feeling a lot better. Obviously, he was dealing with injury last season.
Mm-hmm.
Knows that he had a down year. And wants to get back to that 2019 form where I believe he had 11 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
But he looked great today. He looked fast. Looked like he was back to his normal self a little bit. And hopefully that continues on here throughout training camp. But Mac looked great as well. He looks very, very big, obviously. I mean, seeing that in person,
Mm-hmm.
seeing that man in person just doesn't seem real. He's just literally a monster. But yeah, no, they both look really good today. And that might be something to say about the offensive line, which could be concerning. Tevin Jenkins was not practicing today.
Yeah, I heard about that as well.
And as alongside the defensive side of the ball, Eddie Jackson did not play today. They listed him as injured earlier this morning, I believe. But it's nothing to be concerned about with Tevin and with Eddie. Some other injuries that we saw here on the offensive side of the ball. Tariq obviously still on the PUP list because of his ACL tear. And then Afedi was also not playing today as well. So he wasn't in there. So a couple of pieces missing there. And hopefully that offensive line can get back to what we need it to be, which is 100% healthy. James Daniels, seeing him out there again was really great. He's really, really big for this offensive line. But one thing I did notice in terms of the offensive side of the ball now is that David Montgomery is looking very fast, something that he's been working on a lot, kind of the one piece of his game that needed improvement and something that he's been working very hard on, but he looks very fast. Obviously, we know what he can do when he gets the ball. But what do you expect for this season in terms of Parth, in terms of David Montgomery, and what are you hopeful to see tomorrow? Because it was really great seeing him out there today. The fans loved him. They were cheering him on all day. So tell me what you're excited to see with Montgomery tomorrow.
With David Montgomery, ever since he got drafted, I've expected big things. He's only gotten better since his time in Chicago. And I expect him to just keep adding to his skill set. What we saw last year was, David Montgomery just getting more carries, more time and more opportunities in this offense, and he was flourishing. This year, we're going to see him get even more opportunities, even opportunities to catch the ball even more. He's also going to have a better offensive line. This guy's in for a breakout season. I'm excited for what he can put up. I think he's really underrated, especially if we look at like fantasy rankings. I know we don't talk about fantasy much on the show, but he's underrated in those running back rankings for fantasy. Madden's about to put out those running back ratings too. I bet he's gonna get rated low. So he's very underrated. I think Matt Nagy's got a very, very good piece in him, especially if he runs the ball. I think Nagy emphasized that they're going to emphasize running the ball with him 20 plus times this year. I think that's very important if the Bears want to win games this year.
Yeah, statistically was a top 10 back last year. The Madden ratings for the running backs are out. I don't pay too much attention to it.
They are out. Okay.
Yeah, they're out. So Ezekiel Elliott's up there, and I don't really agree with it. I feel like, we all have our opinions. We're biased a little bit, but it would be really cool to see. All I want to see from Montgomery is this year him solidify himself as a top 10 back. That's something that I'm really hopeful for.
He was rated an 84 overall. I think that's pretty fair.
And he's a beast, and he works very hard. Something that I've noticed, and he's a very likable guy.
Very likable guy, always pushing his teammates and pushing himself. And that's exactly what we need. And he's a very smart dude too. I don't think that gets talked about. He's very good between the numbers, the X's and O's. He studies the game just as well as a quarterback does, in my opinion.
Oh, his vision is amazing. He's got a really good vision. He's so elusive. He breaks tackles. If he can get really, really fast, he's going to be dangerous. He might be losing a little bit of power with that, obviously, but he's so elusive and he's got such great vision. I think it'll serve him very well. But the way he was hitting the holes today looked great. I saw Damian Williams out there. He looked good as well. Artavis Pierce struggled a little bit today, a little bit of drops. And I believe I don't think he fumbled, but he did look a little bit shaky today. Let's see who else was there. Khalil Herbert looked good today. He's fast, very fast. So that was really cool to see. Moving on to, let's go with wide receivers now. Marquise Goodwin is exactly as labeled. He is very fast.
He's fast. He's got some 4.2 speed. Exactly what Nagy wants to help Mooney out too. Mooney's gonna be able to get some space from Goodwin, so that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, that wide receiver 3 position is going to be very interesting as we close into the season here. We're going to see what happens. We've got, Damiere Byrd fighting for that spot. Marquise Goodwin. You've got Javon Wims. You've got Riley Ridley, who I want to move on to now because Riley Ridley did not have a great day. He dropped 3 balls, I believe, is what I counted. He did have some decent catches today, but something that you really got to monitor here because he might not make the final roster here depending on how the rest of training camp goes. We've got so many wide receivers here at this point. We let go of Anthony Miller, but we also picked up Goodwin. We've got Damiere Byrd now. Thomas Ives is also there, and he is the guy that we picked up, and he I think he jumped on one of the plays on a hard count on Nick Foles when he was in there. But let's move on to, let's see here. Let's go with quarterbacks now. I guess we'll just jump right into what everybody wants to know. So, in my opinion, I think a lot of people would agree with this. People that were looking at training camp, watching the practices, Dalton does have the edge on Fields right now. but that's not something to be surprised about.
I mean, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, we expected that coming into camp. There was no way Justin Fields was going to be better than Andy Dalton, who's been a career vet in the NFL. At the end of the day, he's a serviceable quarterback who's always played pretty decent. Andy Dalton, despite all the hate he gets from us Bears fans, he's not a bad quarterback. And the Bears have to stay patient with Justin Fields. At the end of the day, he's a project. We can't just put him out there. That's what we did with Mitchell Trubisky, and it did not work out well. If it takes Fields 8 weeks, it takes Fields 8 weeks. If it takes Fields 16 weeks, it takes Fields 16 weeks. We have the luxury to do that because we have Andy Dalton. We didn't have that luxury when we had Mitchell Trubisky because we had Mike Glennon. There's a big difference between Glennon and Dalton. I don't think Bears fans realize that.
Oh yeah, I mean the biggest word that you use there is patience. Something that I really loved seeing with Dalton today is we've all known for a while if you've watched him in the league, he's got a very fast release. So the good thing is he gets the ball out very quickly. And he did struggle with some throws today. He had some overthrows, but he's had some really good throws today, which is really good to see. And like I said, not everything in practice is gonna, like Riley Ridley, for example, could go out tomorrow and not drop a ball. So it's just, it's practice. People are getting back into the swing of things, the motions, going through the motions of practices, getting used to it. And so we're back in the swing of that. And Andy Dalton did, like I said, have a few bad throws, but he also made up for them with some good throws. So he didn't do very bad today. In terms of Fields now, Fields started out very sharp. He, was rushing to the line of scrimmage. He looked very good, was making accurate throws. And it kind of started to go down a little downhill later on in practice. He started to kind of not place them in the right position. He was throwing some high balls here and there that were uncatchable for a few people. Threw them out in front of people where they couldn't reach it. But he's a rookie, so I think a lot of people right now are latching on to he's supposed to be Patrick Mahomes in practice, or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. He's not going to be that, and so you have to be okay with the fact that Fields is going to be taking his time. He's going to have to learn a lot. He's going to have to get used to the motions of practices, and he's also playing with number twos right now. He's not playing with Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney every snap. So you have to keep that in mind. If I'm honest, Foles didn't look that bad today either. But the problem with him is that he's slow, and we saw a lot of that last season with the pocket presence. The defense was getting to him very quickly, and he wasn't getting the ball out in the time that I wish he would have been. But Fields and Dalton, not so much that problem. One of the problems that Fields did go through today, other than throws, was he did fumble. There was a bad snap, and so he had to deal with that. So there was a fumble. But right after that, he went up to the line of scrimmage, corrected it. And one of the best things I saw from him today is his handoffs are insane. He's got like a perfect placement for the running backs. It's very tight. He's got it in there, and
it's important because he's going to be taking off with the ball too, and he's going to be faking it and doing all that. So that is it's small, but those things are things you just can't teach. Either you have it or you don't have it, and he's got all the small things. I think he just a couple polishing up things in practice will do the magic with him. But like you said, you can't expect too much out of him. It's just day 2. I'll be there tomorrow. We'll see more things. Maybe he gets more time with the ones tomorrow. But, it's just the start of training camp. He's got a couple more weeks to go. And it's just going to be fun to see his developmental process. I think, seeing him early on in training camp and then, hopefully visiting the training camp again, later on and seeing how he's doing then will be important to just see his growth and progress, I guess.
Yeah, I was happy from what I saw from the quarterbacks today, which is good.
Yeah, especially being a Bears fan.
Yeah, right. I think a lot of people, hopefully you guys don't latch on to too much of what you hear in practice because, that's not always going to be the case. Even if someone looks really good, you know what I mean? Like either way, if they look really good or really bad.
I mean, same goes with preseason. You can look really good in preseason, look terrible in regular season. You just can't get too hyped from what you see or whatever. Just stay patient, stay calm, and hopefully they'll, do what it, I guess, do whatever it takes.
Yeah. And another thing that we are for sure about is that Allen Robinson was definitely the best player out there today on the field. He was making some insane catches. Dalton threw it was a very good throw on his part, so it was a very well executed play overall. But he threw it in between two backs along the sidelines, and Allen Robinson made like a diving catch. Like if you remember his Saints touchdown, the first one that he had, it looked like that, but it was on the sidelines and it was inbounds. So it was really cool seeing him out there today. He had some, he obviously didn't really make any mistakes.
He's been the best player on this team for the last couple of years, I feel like, and he just does not get enough recognition by the national media. Khalil Mack definitely is a superstar and everything, but, Allen Robinson quietly has been putting up some really good numbers with some really bad quarterbacks. So, watch out for him. If Justin Fields is what he is and what we all thought he can be, if Allen Robinson stays with the Bears, those two can put up some monster numbers together.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing Darnell Mooney in person was sweet, man. That
his footwork's quick.
Because a lot of people get on Bears fans for being getting overhyping
like a second round, fifth
round. You've got to realize seeing this guy in person, man. His footwork, his elusiveness,
it's fun to watch.
When he broke Jaylen Johnson's ankles, and it was like kind of a double move. So he kind of double moved him, if I remember correctly. I was looking away for a second, and then Andy overthrew him. But I'm not too concerned about it because I think it's just that
that timing. Yeah,
I think that chemistry is going to be there because the problem with Mooney is he's so quick. You don't want to be under him, so you're you're a step ahead of him, which can be a problem sometimes. You're trying to place it too far ahead. So I think that's something that's going to come with time. It's just going to work out with these guys. But Mooney is really awesome to see in person. I hope everybody, if you get the chance to be able to watch him, he's exactly what everybody has been telling you. Watching him in person, it was really, really fun. And I'm trying to think about where to go next, but everything else has looked good today. I wasn't too upset about anybody. The only real concern I had with anybody today was Riley Ridley. And of course it's practice. So I'm not too concerned about him. I really like him. I hope he makes the roster. I'd like to see a lot more of him this year. But Marquise Goodwin looked very good. So that's something to keep an eye out for. In terms of that, who do you think is going to take that spot, in your opinion? Do you think
the
it's
wide receiver 3 spot? Yeah, I think it's going to be Goodwin. I think Goodwin's speed is what Nagy's going to love. And he's also a good veteran. He's been in the league for multiple years. He knows what he's doing. Javon Wims and Riley Ridley, both of them have been on his Bears team for a while. I think have been given chances to step up, but just haven't taken that chance. So I think Goodwin's just going to come in and take that spot. Maybe even the Bird or Bird could take it, but I think Goodwin's just got that veteran presence.
Right. Another thing that we haven't spoken about yet was the special teams. Something that was really, really cool to see is they were running 2-minute drills. I believe it was the 2-minute drills, but Andy Dalton could not convert, so it was 4th down, and they had it at about the 50-yard line, and Santos bombed it, and it was like 60-something yards, I think, and it was straight down the middle. He made it. It's just that guy is unbelievable. He didn't miss a kick all practice. He looked very good, which is something really good to see. That's a lot more easy to judge when a kicker is, on or off, if you can tell, if it's the hold versus him. And Cairo Santos and O'Donnell both look good today. O'Donnell looked good in the punting game. I saw Mooney was back there along with Demir Bird for punt returns. They could have just been catching, but maybe Demir Bird with Cohen out, you've got Demir Bird and other guys who are really fast. They're going to have to step up in those roles along with kick return. So we'll have to see how that goes. That'll be very interesting because that's a huge part of the game, especially after, not having Cordarrelle Patterson back.
Cordarrelle Patterson, the best returner in the league. So the Bears are definitely a little bit short on returners right now with Cohen out, and you don't want Eddie Jackson returning punts or anything. So.
Right. Yeah, not like his Alabama days.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that other than that, guys, we're going to have a lot more to bring to you guys tomorrow because we've got 2 eyes now here.
Yeah.
They'll be able to see a lot more. But it was very nice to get back out there, and I'm excited that I was able to hop on and record something for you
Yeah,
guys.
this is awesome. I'm excited to go tomorrow and see some more Bears action. I haven't seen the Bears play in so long, so I'm already excited. Can't sleep. I'm gonna have to wake up at 7 in the morning, but I love my Bears, so let's do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we started this podcast too, we started it in March of 2020. So, we didn't have any of this type of content to give to you guys. So we're really excited about this because we've got a lot that we can tell you guys about. The only thing that sucks about the restrictions that the Bears have is we're not able to show video to you guys. So, that'll get restricted. I said something about they may even ban people for doing that. Or it has to be deleted in 24 hours or something. So that's the only problem with the media side of things. But other than that, everything we're telling you, we're just going to tell you exactly how we see it. Don't get too hyped up. Don't be too upset about the things that you hear in practice, right? Things are always going to be changing. People are getting back into the motion, back into the swing of the season. It's going to be a long season this time around. We've got an extra game added to the schedule. So people are going to be, the conditioning is going to be different for these guys. The reps they get, especially who's going to be in there. And the personnel is different this time too. A lot from what I saw of Sean Desai today was really good. He was very vocal. He just looked like a natural leader. And it was awesome, man. So, Parth, do you have any last words or anything else you want to know? And I can answer anything. But other than that, we're good, I think.
Tomorrow we'll have another video out with me and Chris there, so be on the lookout for that one, and just follow our Twitters. Like I said, we'll be tweeting live a lot of things. Almost Chris will probably be tweeting every play, so make sure you guys actually follow Chris. But yeah, I'm excited to go. Like I've said like at least 100 times now. But yeah, that's about it for this one.
Yeah, man. So stay tuned, everybody. We're gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna try. Apparently one of my family members also has tickets for a later date. So I had to figure out with my work schedule if I can do that, and we can try and even pump out more of this stuff for you guys.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I appreciate everybody who's tuning in to watch this. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Today's only Thursday, but lead into the weekend. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Gets to hear a little bit more about Bears football here, and we're glad that you guys tuned in. So thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to bear down, and we'll catch you in the next one.